My mama said you are my father. The wrench slipped from Malik Grayson's hand and hit the concrete floor with a sharp sound that made everyone inside the repair shop turn around. For 1 second, nobody spoke. The boy standing at the entrance could not have been more than 8 years old. He had warm brown skin, neat twists, a faded blue backpack on his shoulders, and one hand gripping an old folded photograph like it was the only thing keeping him brave. His sneakers were dusty, and his eyes moved from Malik's face to the workers around him, as if he was not sure he had done the right thing. Malik stared at him. "What did you say?" he asked quietly. The boy swallowed. "My mama said your name is Malik Grayson." A mechanic named Roy stopped wiping his hands. Another worker slowly lowered the hood of a car. Even the radio playing in the corner suddenly sounded too loud. Malik stepped closer, but carefully, so he would not scare him. "What's your name, son?" "Isaiah," the boy said. "Isaiah Rowe." Malik frowned slightly. The name touched nothing in his memory. Outside the shop, Belridge City was moving like every other afternoon. Cars passed, horns sounded, customers waited near the gate. But inside Grayson Auto Repair, time had stopped. 2 years ago, people in this same city had known Malik as the homeless man outside Mason's Fresh Market. They had stepped over him, laughed at him, and treated him like a stain on the sidewalk. Now he owned this place. Men called him Sir. Customers trusted his hands. His name had slowly become clean again, and now this child had walked in carrying a sentence powerful enough to destroy everything. Malik crouched slightly. "Where is your mother?" Isaiah looked behind him, toward the street. "She told me to wait near the bus stop," he said, "but I saw your sign." "My sign?" The boy pointed outside. The painted board above the shop read, "Grayson Auto Repair." "My mama kept saying Grayson," Isaiah said, "so I came." Malik's chest tightened. Roy spoke from behind him. "Boss, you want me to call somebody?" Malik lifted one hand, telling him no. At that moment, a white car pulled up near the shop entrance. The door opened, and Janelle Whitmore Grayson stepped out, holding a folder of building plans for the community center Malik wanted to build on the old Grayson land. She was smiling when she entered. "Malik, I brought the revised—" She stopped. Her eyes moved from Malik to the boy, then to the silence in the shop. "What happened?" she asked. Isaiah turned toward her. His small hand tightened around the photograph. Malik stood slowly. "Janelle." The boy looked back at Malik with innocent seriousness. "Is she your wife?" Janelle's smile faded. "Yes." Isaiah looked down, then lifted the photograph toward her. "My mama said he was my father." Janelle did not move at first. The words entered her slowly, like something cold being poured into her chest. Malik shook his head. "Janelle, I don't know what this is." She took the photograph from Isaiah's hand. The picture was old and creased, the edges soft from being touched too many times. In it stood a much thinner Malik, his beard rough, his clothes worn, his eyes tired from the years when life had almost buried him. Beside him was a young pregnant woman Janelle had never seen before. Her breath caught. "Malik," she whispered, "who is this woman?" Malik stared at the photograph. For a moment, confusion covered his face. Then something changed. Not guilt, recognition. His voice came out low. "I know her," he said, "but not like this." Janelle looked at him, waiting. The whole shop waited too. Before Malik could say another word, Isaiah pointed toward the road. A woman stood across the street, half hidden near a parked car, watching them with fear in her eyes. Then she turned and walked away quickly. Isaiah's face changed. "Mama," he called. Malik rushed to the doorway, but by the time he stepped outside, the woman was gone. Malik stood at the entrance of the repair shop, staring down the street long after the woman disappeared. A bus pulled away from the corner. 2 cars passed slowly. A group of teenagers crossed the road laughing. Everything outside looked normal, but Malik knew what he had seen. Fear. The woman had looked afraid. Behind him, Isaiah stood beside Janelle, still clutching the strap of his backpack. The boy's eyes stayed fixed on the place where his mother had been. "She left again," Isaiah said quietly. Janelle looked down at him. "Again?" Isaiah nodded, but said nothing more. Malik turned back inside slowly. His face had changed. The shock was still there, but something else had come with it now. A memory he did not seem ready to touch. Janelle held up the photograph. "Malik," she said carefully, "you said you know her." Malik wiped his hand over his face. "Her name is Keisha Rowe." Janelle's heart tightened at how quickly he said the name. "So, you remember her?" "Yes," Malik said, "but not the way this looks." Roy and the other workers pretended to return to their duties, but everybody was listening. Malik noticed and lowered his voice. "Janelle, can we talk in the office?" She nodded, but her eyes did not leave the photograph. Inside the small office, Isaiah sat on the old brown couch with a bottle of water Malik gave him. Janelle stood near the desk, still holding the picture. Malik closed the door gently, then faced her. "I met Keisha years ago," he said, "when I was still on the street." Janelle swallowed. "Why did you never tell me?" "Because there was nothing to tell. There is a child outside calling you his father." Malik flinched, but he did not raise his voice. "I know how it sounds." "No," Janelle said, tears gathering but not falling. "I don't think you do." Malik looked at Isaiah through the glass window of the office. The boy was swinging his feet softly under the couch, innocent of the storm he had carried into their lives. Then Malik's eyes drifted back to the photograph, and the past came back. Years ago, behind a closed diner on the east side of Belridge, Malik had been sitting near the back wall with a paper bag in his lap. It was raining lightly that night. His coat was too thin, his shoes were wet, and his chest hurt with every breath. He had only one sandwich. Then he heard a sound near the trash bins. A woman was sitting there, one hand on her stomach, the other covering her mouth as she tried not to cry. She was young, pregnant, and soaked from the rain. Malik had stared at her for a moment. "You okay?" he asked. The woman looked up quickly, frightened. "I'm not here to hurt you," Malik said. She wiped her face. "I don't need help." Malik looked at the sandwich in his hand, then broke it in half. "Me neither," he said softly, "but we both know that's not true." She hesitated before taking it. "What's your name?" Malik asked. The woman looked away. "Keisha." "Who did this to you?" Her whole body tightened. "I can't say." Back in the office, Malik blinked as the memory faded. "That was it?" Janelle asked. "That was the beginning," Malik said. "I helped her that night. I got her somewhere safe. After that, I didn't see her again." Before Janelle could respond, the office door opened. The woman from the photograph stood there. Keisha Rowe looked thinner than in the picture. Her eyes were tired, and her hands trembled slightly as she reached for Isaiah. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean for him to walk in here alone." Janelle stepped forward, voice shaking. "Is Malik his father?" Keisha looked at Malik, then at Isaiah, then at the floor. She did not answer. Malik's face tightened with pain. "Keisha," he said quietly, "don't do this." But Keisha only held Isaiah's hand tighter, and her silence filled the room louder than any confession. Keisha's silence did more damage than any accusation could have done. For a long moment, nobody inside the office moved. Malik stood near the desk, staring at her like he was begging her with his eyes to speak. Janelle held the old photograph in one hand. her fingers tightening around the edges until the paper bent slightly. Isaiah looked from one adult to another. "Mama," he said softly. Keisha quickly placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's okay, baby." But nothing felt okay. Janelle's voice came out low. "I asked you a simple question." Keisha swallowed. "This is not the place." Malik took one step forward. "Then choose the place, but don't stand here and let my wife believe I abandoned a child." Keisha's eyes filled with panic. "I didn't say you abandoned him." "You didn't say anything," Malik replied. That was the problem. Janelle looked at Malik, and the pain in her face made his chest tighten. They had fought too hard to build peace. Too many lies had already tried to bury them. Now another shadow had walked into their marriage carrying a child and a photograph. Outside the office, the workers had gone quiet. Even customers near the gate were whispering. News did not need legs in Belridge City. It had wings. By evening, half the neighborhood had already heard that Malik Grayson had a child. By night, the story had grown teeth. A woman at the grocery store said Malik had hidden a whole family. A man at the barber shop said Janelle had married too fast. Someone outside the mechanic yard claimed the boy looked just like Malik, even though most people had only seen Isaiah for a few seconds. The next morning, Denise Whitmore arrived at Janelle's home without calling first. She walked into the living room with her purse clutched tightly and disappointment written across her face. "I heard it from 3 different people before breakfast," Denise said. "3, Janelle." Janelle stood near the window, tired from a sleepless night. "Good morning to you too, Mom." Denise ignored the sarcasm. "Is it true?" "Is what true?" "That a child came to Malik's shop calling him father." Janelle turned away. Denise inhaled sharply. "Lord have mercy." "Mom, we don't know the full story yet." "That is exactly the problem. You married a man whose past you do not fully know." Janelle faced her. "Don't start." "I am not starting anything. I am telling you what I feared from the beginning." Denise lowered her voice. "Your father made mistakes. Yes, we all know that. But Malik's life before you was not a clean book. He was on the streets for years. You don't know what happened there." Janelle's eyes hardened. "Being poor does not make a man dirty." "No," Denise said, "but secrets do." Those words stayed with Janelle long after her mother left. Later that afternoon, Reginald came to see Malik at the repair shop. For once he did not arrive like a man ready to judge. He came quietly, stood near a car Malik was repairing, and watched him work for a while. Malik wiped his hands on a rag. "If you came to accuse me, stand in line." Reginald sighed. "I came because my daughter is hurting." "So am I." "I know." Reginald's voice was careful. "That is why I'm trying not to speak too quickly." Malik looked at him then. There was a time when Reginald would have believed the worst of him without blinking. Maybe the old man remembered that too, because his face carried shame. "Do you know the boy?" Reginald asked. "No." "The woman?" Malik paused. "I helped her once, years ago, that is all." Reginald nodded slowly. "Then make Janelle understand before other people explain your life for you." That evening, Malik went home and found Janelle sitting at the dining table with the photograph in front of her. He sat across from her. "I did not betray you," he said. Janelle's eyes were tired. "Then why does it feel like something is standing between us?" "Because Keisha won't speak." "And why won't she?" Malik had no answer. A soft knock came from the hallway. Isaiah stood near the doorway, holding a toy car Malik had given him earlier at the shop. Keisha was resting in the guest room after saying she felt dizzy. Isaiah looked at both of them. "Did I do something bad?" he asked. Janelle's face softened immediately. "No, sweetheart, you didn't." Malik stood and crouched in front of him. None of this is your fault. Isaiah nodded, but his little eyes stayed serious. My mama always said you were kind, he said. She said when nobody cared, you did. Janelle looked at Malik. The words should have brought comfort, but they only made the mystery deeper. That night, after everyone slept, Keisha sat on the edge of the guest bed. Her phone lit up with an unknown number. She stared at it until her hand started trembling. Then she answered. A voice spoke on the other end. Keisha's face changed. She said nothing. She only listened. After the call ended, she quietly opened her bag and began packing Isaiah's clothes. By morning, Keisha's bag was half-packed. Janelle noticed it before anyone else. She had come downstairs early, hoping to make breakfast before the house woke up. But when she passed the guest room, the door was slightly open. Inside, Keisha was kneeling beside the bed, folding Isaiah's shirts with shaking hands. Janelle stopped at the doorway. You were leaving? Keisha froze. For a moment she looked like a child caught stealing bread. Then she slowly stood. I didn't want to cause more trouble. Janelle stepped into the room. You came into my husband's life with an 8-year-old boy calling him father. You brought an old picture from his homeless years. You refused to answer a simple question. And now you are trying to disappear before sunrise. Keisha lowered her eyes. That does not look like someone avoiding trouble, Janelle said. It looks like someone running from it. Keisha's lips trembled, but she said nothing. Janelle closed the door gently behind her. Her voice softened. Woman to woman, Keisha, tell me what is going on. Keisha sat slowly on the edge of the bed. For a while she only stared at Isaiah's small shoes near the wall. Malik helped me, she said at last. That part is true. Janelle waited. I was pregnant, hungry, sleeping anywhere I could. People looked through me like I was already dead. Keisha's voice grew thin. Then one night behind a closed diner, Malik found me. Janelle's heart tightened. He gave me food, Keisha continued. He did not ask for anything. He did not touch me. He did not speak to me like I was dirty. He just saw me. Then why does Isaiah think he is his father? Janelle asked. Keisha looked toward the window. A car passed outside slowly. Her shoulders stiffened. Janelle noticed. Keisha? Keisha stood and moved closer to the curtain, peeking through the small opening. The street was calm, but her breathing had changed. Are you expecting someone? Janelle asked. No. You looked afraid. I said no. The answer came too fast. Janelle walked nearer. Who called you last night? Keisha turned sharply. You heard? I heard enough to know you started packing after that call. Keisha covered her face with both hands. I should never have come here. Why did you? Because Isaiah kept asking questions. Her voice broke softly. He is old enough now. He wanted to know why other children had fathers and he didn't. He wanted a name, a face, something. And you gave him Malik? Keisha looked at her, tears in her eyes. I gave him the only man who ever showed us kindness. Before Janelle could speak, Keisha's mind drifted backward. Years ago, she stood beside a black car under a streetlight, one hand resting on her pregnant belly. Rain dotted the windshield. The driver's side window lowered halfway. A man sat inside, but the shadows hid most of his face. Only his polished shoes, expensive watch, and smooth voice stayed clear in her memory. I told you to stop calling, the man said. I'm not asking you for the world, Keisha whispered. I just need help. The baby. Don't say that word like it gives you power. Keisha stepped back. The man's hand tightened on the steering wheel. You don't know what kind of family you are playing with. If you care about yourself, you will forget my name. The window rolled up. The car drove away. Back in the guest room, Keisha wiped her face quickly. Janelle's voice was quiet. Who was he? Keisha shook her head. Some men don't just abandon you, they make sure you stay quiet. Janelle felt cold move through her body. Downstairs, Malik entered the kitchen and found Isaiah sitting at the table with a small toy car in his hand. The boy was not crying, he was only staring at the car like he was thinking too hard for his age. "You like cars?" Malik asked gently. Isaiah nodded. "Mama used to say you fix things." Malik sat across from him. "I try." Isaiah looked up. "She has an envelope." Malik frowned. "What envelope?" "The one she hides." Isaiah lowered his voice. "Sometimes she cries when she looks at it." Before Malik could ask more, Janelle came downstairs with Keisha behind her. Keisha's face changed when she saw Isaiah talking to Malik. "What did you tell him?" she asked. Isaiah blinked. "Nothing, Mama." But Malik had already heard enough. "What is in the envelope, Keisha?" he asked. Keisha's hand went slowly to her bag. Then her face drained of color. She opened it, searched once, then again. The envelope was gone. Keisha searched the bag again, her fingers moving faster, rougher, desperate. "It was here," she whispered. "I know it was here." Malik stood still near the kitchen table. Janelle watched Keisha's face, and for the first time, she believed the woman's fear was not an act. "What envelope?" Janelle asked. Keisha shook her head. "Nothing." Malik's voice hardened. "Keisha." She looked at him, then at Isaiah, and swallowed whatever truth had almost escaped her mouth. "I said it's nothing." But nobody believed her. That same afternoon, Janelle took Isaiah to the living room and gave him a quiet place to sit with his toy car while Malik and Keisha searched the guest room. They checked under the bed, inside folded clothes, behind the small drawer, even beneath the pillowcase. The envelope was gone. Keisha sat on the edge of the bed, holding her bag like someone had reached inside her chest and stolen breath from her lungs. Janelle stood in the doorway. "Did someone come into this room?" Keisha looked up slowly. "I don't know." "Who knew about the envelope?" Keisha's lips parted, but no answer came. Before anyone could press her further, Janelle's phone rang. Her mother. Janelle stepped into the hallway and answered. "Mom, now is not a good time." "Then make it one," Denise said. "Bryson is here." Janelle froze. "Bryson?" "Yes, he came by to check on the family. He heard about what happened." Janelle closed her eyes. Of course he had heard. In Belridge City, shame traveled faster than truth. "Why is he at your house?" Denise lowered her voice. "Because unlike some people, he still respects this family." Janelle ended the call without answering. When she returned to the room, Malik noticed her face. "What happened?" "Bryson is at my parents' house." Keisha, who had been staring at the floor, suddenly lifted her head. Not sharply, not enough for Janelle to understand, but enough for Malik to notice. Then Keisha looked away. Later that evening, Janelle arrived at the Whitmore house alone. Bryson Vale was sitting in the living room like he had never broken her heart. He wore a neat grey jacket, his shoes polished, his posture calm. He looked respectful, almost concerned. That made Janelle dislike the moment even more. He stood when she entered. "Janelle," he said softly, "I'm sorry to come like this." She did not smile. "Then why did you?" Denise stepped in quickly. "He came because he cares." Bryson gave a humble nod. "I heard people were talking. I didn't want to believe it." Janelle folded her arms. "Believe what?" "That Malik has a child he never told you about." "He does not have a child," Janelle said. Bryson raised both hands slightly. "I'm not accusing him. I'm only saying you deserve truth." Reginald, who had been quiet near the fireplace, studied Bryson carefully. Bryson continued, his voice smooth. "Sometimes a man can change his clothes, his home, even his name in society, but his past still follows him. I just don't want you hurt again. Janelle stared at him. You're suddenly worried about me being hurt? The room tightened. Bryson lowered his eyes, as if accepting blame with maturity. I made mistakes. I have lived with that. But this is not about me. That sentence irritated Janelle more than open anger would have, because he sounded almost decent. Almost. Meanwhile, across town, Malik returned to the shop with Keisha and Isaiah. The place was closed, but he wanted to check the office cameras, hoping they might show who had come near Keisha's bag earlier. As Malik unlocked the door, Keisha stopped walking. A black car was parked across the street. Its windows were tinted. Its engine was on. Keisha's hand tightened around Isaiah's shoulder. Malik noticed. You know that car? No, she said too quickly. The car did not move. Janelle arrived moments later, still disturbed from seeing Bryson. She noticed Malik watching the street. What is it? She asked. Before Malik could answer, the black car pulled away slowly and disappeared around the corner. Keisha's breathing eased, but her face remained pale. Inside the office, Malik checked the camera footage. The recording from the hallway outside the guest room was missing for exactly 11 minutes. Janelle stared at the blank gap on the screen. Someone erased it, she whispered. Keisha backed away from the desk. Then Malik's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Stop digging into what does not belong to you. Malik stared at the message on his phone until the words blurred. Stop digging into what does not belong to you. Janelle stood beside him, her face pale. Who sent it? She asked. Malik checked the number. No name, no picture, nothing. Unknown. Keisha backed toward the office wall, one hand pressed against her chest. We should leave. Malik turned to her. No, we are done running from shadows. Her eyes flashed with panic. You don't understand. Then help me understand, he said, because right now somebody erased camera footage from my shop, stole something from your bag, and sent me a warning, and somehow I'm still the one everybody thinks is hiding something. Keisha looked away. Janelle watched her closely. Keisha, whoever this person is, he is not only threatening you anymore, he has entered our lives too. Keisha's lips trembled. For one moment it looked like she would finally speak. Then Isaiah walked into the office, holding his toy car. Mama, are we going home? Keisha's face softened immediately. She knelt and touched his cheek. Soon, baby. Malik saw Janelle's expression change. The anger in her eyes became something quieter. No matter how heavy the mystery was, Isaiah was still only a child, standing in the middle of adult secrets. The next morning, Malik opened the shop late. He did not want customers crowding the place, while his life was falling apart behind the office door. But in Belridge, a closed repair shop only made people talk louder. By noon, Tasha Monroe arrived with 2 paper bags of lunch and her usual sharp walk. I heard rumors, she said, stepping inside. And since rumors are usually dressed-up lies, I came to hear the truth. Malik rubbed his forehead. I wish I knew the truth. Tasha's eyes moved toward the office window, where Keisha sat with Isaiah. The moment Tasha saw Keisha's face, her steps slowed. Wait, she whispered. Malik noticed. What? Tasha stared harder. I know her. Keisha looked up from inside the office and froze. Janelle, who had just come from the front desk, turned quickly. You know Keisha? Tasha blinked like she was pulling an old memory out from under dust. Not from here, she said. From years ago. Keisha stood. You're mistaken. No, Tasha said slowly. I don't think I am. The room grew quiet. Tasha placed the lunch bags on the counter and looked at Malik. Before I left Belridge, I volunteered for a few months at Haven House, the women's shelter on Mercer Street. Keisha's hand tightened around the back of the chair. Tasha pointed gently, not accusingly, only remembering. You came there pregnant. Keisha closed her eyes. Janelle stepped closer. What happened there? Tasha's voice dropped. I didn't know her story. None of us did. She barely spoke, but I remember one night clearly. Her words pulled the room backward. Years ago, Haven House smelled of soap, old blankets, and warm soup. Rain tapped against the windows. A young pregnant Keisha sat near the intake desk with a small bag pressed to her chest. Her hair was damp, her shoes muddy, and her eyes kept moving toward the door. A shelter worker with silver glasses asked gently, Is the baby's father dangerous? Keisha did not answer. The worker tried again. We need to know how to protect you. Keisha looked down at her hands. Then she whispered, Dangerous people don't always carry weapons. Sometimes they carry family names. The shelter worker paused. What family name? Keisha shook her head. If I say it, nobody will believe me. Back in Malik's shop, Janelle felt a chill rise through her. Tasha continued. She had hospital papers in her bag. I saw only a corner before she hid them. There was a last name written there, but I didn't see the full thing. Keisha's voice was small. Please stop. Malik faced her. Keisha, was that the envelope? She did not answer. Janelle's mind began moving quickly. A hidden envelope, a missing camera clip, a black car, a family name Keisha was afraid to say. This is bigger than Malik, Janelle whispered. At that moment, Reginald entered the shop with Denise beside him. Denise looked around with visible discomfort, but Reginald's eyes went straight to Malik. I heard there was a threat, Reginald said. Denise folded her arms. And now there are shelter stories too? Janelle, this is exactly what I warned you about. Reginald turned to her sharply. Denise, enough. Everyone looked at him. His voice lowered. I once judged Malik before knowing the truth. I will not stand here and watch this family do it again. For the first time, Denise had no quick reply. Then Keisha's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and went still. A new message appeared. You should have stayed quiet at Haven House. Keisha stared at the message until her hand began to shake. You should have stayed quiet at Haven House. The room went silent. Even Denise, who had been ready with another sharp comment, did not speak. The message did not sound like gossip. It did not sound like rumor. It sounded like someone had been watching Keisha for years. Malik stepped closer. Give me the phone. Keisha held it to her chest. No. Keisha, whoever this is knows where you stayed. They know what you said. They stole from your bag. They erased footage from my shop. This is not something you can hide anymore. Her eyes moved toward Isaiah. The boy stood near Janelle, holding his toy car with both hands. He was quiet, but his face showed that he understood enough to know the adults were afraid. Janelle gently touched his shoulder. Isaiah, sweetheart, why don't you come sit with me in the office? Isaiah looked at Malik first, as if asking permission. Malik nodded softly. Go ahead, you're safe. When Janelle returned, her face was different, softer toward the child, but firmer toward everyone else. We need the truth, she said, and since nobody is giving it clearly, there is only one way to end the first question. Keisha looked up slowly. Janelle continued. A DNA test. The words landed heavily. Malik did not argue. He only nodded once. Good, he said. I am tired of people looking at me like I buried a secret child somewhere. Keisha's face went pale. No. Denise gave a bitter laugh. Now she refuses the test, too? Reginald turned to Keisha. Why are you afraid of a test if Malik is the man you came here for? Keisha's lips moved, but no words came out. Malik watched her carefully. You're not afraid because of me, are you? Keisha looked away. That answer disturbed Janelle more than any confession. The test was arranged the next morning at a small private clinic outside the main part of Belridge. Janelle chose the place herself because she did not want family connections, business names, or gossiping staff involved. Malik gave his sample without hesitation. Isaiah sat quietly while the nurse explained things gently. Malik stayed near him, not as a father claiming him, but as a man refusing to let a child feel blamed for adult confusion. "This won't hurt?" Isaiah asked. "Not much," Malik said. "And after this, nobody should use your name to fight anymore." Isaiah looked at him. "Are you mad at me?" Malik's face softened. "Never. You didn't do anything wrong." From the doorway, Janelle heard that and lowered her eyes. That was the part that hurt her most. Malik was still kind. Even while people doubted him, he was still protecting the child who had turned his life upside down. Keisha gave her sample too, but her hands were cold. She kept looking toward the clinic entrance, as if expecting someone to walk in. Outside, a car passed slowly. Keisha turned her face away. Janelle noticed but said nothing. 2 days passed, then 3. The result did not come. Every hour made the house heavier. Denise kept calling Janelle, asking if she was prepared for public embarrassment. Reginald tried to stop her, but Denise's fear had turned into pride. On the 4th day, Bryson Vale arrived at the Whitmore house again. He wore concern like a clean jacket. "I heard about the test," he said gently. "I hope it gives you peace, Janelle." She looked at him carefully. "You seem very interested." Bryson smiled sadly. "I once cared about you. That does not disappear because we failed." His words sounded polished, too polished. Later that evening, an envelope arrived at Malik and Janelle's home. No return address. Janelle opened it with trembling fingers while Malik stood beside her. The paper inside said Malik could be Isaiah's biological father. The room went cold. Malik stared at the result, his face empty with shock. "No," he whispered. "That is not possible." Janelle's hand shook around the paper. She wanted to speak, but her throat closed. Keisha covered her mouth and stepped back. Malik looked at her. "Say something." Keisha's eyes filled with fear, but still she said nothing. Then Janelle noticed one small detail. The clinic logo looked slightly different from the one on the receipt she had been given. Her tears stopped. She took out her phone and called the clinic directly. The woman at the desk checked the record, then gave a confused pause. "Mrs. Grayson," the woman said, "we have not released your official result yet." Janelle slowly lowered the fake paper. Across the room, Malik's eyes met hers. Someone had changed the truth before it could arrive. Janelle's hand was still holding the fake DNA result, but her eyes were no longer full of tears. They were sharp now. Focused. Someone had tried to make Malik look guilty before the real result could arrive. Malik stood beside her, his chest rising and falling slowly. For a man who had survived the street, betrayal, poverty, and public shame, this new pain still found a fresh place to cut him. "They changed it," Janelle whispered. Keisha backed away until her shoulders touched the wall. "No," she said under her breath. "No, no." Malik turned toward her. "You knew this could happen." Keisha shook her head, but her fear betrayed her. Janelle stepped closer. "Keisha, enough. Someone sent threats. Someone stole your envelope. Someone erased Malik's camera footage. Now someone has sent us a fake DNA result to destroy my marriage." Keisha covered her mouth. Janelle's voice softened, but it did not weaken. "You said some men make sure people stay quiet. Is that what is happening here?" Keisha's eyes filled with tears. She looked toward the hallway where Isaiah was sitting safely with Tasha, playing quietly with his toy car, while the adults talked in the living room. "My son didn't ask for any of this," Keisha whispered. "No," Malik said. "And neither did I." That sentence broke her. Keisha sank into the chair, like her strength had finally left her body. "I'm sorry," she said. "I am so sorry." Janelle's heart pounded. "For what?" Keisha looked at Malik. "You are not Isaiah's father." The room went silent. Malik closed his eyes, not in surprise but in pain. The words should have freed him, but they came after too much damage. Janelle's lips parted. "Then why? Why bring him here like that?" Keisha wiped her face. "Because Isaiah kept asking. He wanted to know if any man had ever cared about us. I didn't know what to tell him. I couldn't give him the name of the man who abandoned us. I couldn't give him the name of the man who made me afraid." She looked at Malik. "So I gave him the only name that was kind." Malik's face tightened. The room faded as Keisha's voice carried them into the past. Years ago, rain had soaked the alley behind the closed diner. Keisha sat near the back wall, pregnant, hungry, and too tired to keep pretending she was strong. Her phone battery was dead. Her shoes were wet. The man she had trusted had turned his back on her and warned her never to bring shame to his family. Then Malik appeared from the side of the building, wearing torn clothes and carrying a paper bag. He was homeless too. He had nothing. Still, when he saw her, he stopped. "You need help?" he asked. Keisha had been afraid of men by then, afraid of cars slowing down, afraid of footsteps, afraid of promises. "I don't need anything," she lied. Malik looked at the sandwich in his hand. Then he broke it in two and held half toward her. "I don't have much," he said, "but you shouldn't be out here hungry." Keisha stared at him. He did not move closer. He did not demand her story. He only placed the food beside her and sat a safe distance away. Later that night, when the rain grew heavier, Malik walked her to Haven House Shelter. He waited outside until the staff let her in. Before he left, one of the volunteers took a picture for their intake file, and Keisha kept a copy because it reminded her that one person had not treated her like shame. Back in the present, Keisha looked at Janelle. "When Isaiah got older, he found that picture. He asked who Malik was. I told him Malik was the man who helped us when nobody else did. But Isaiah misunderstood. And her voice cracked, I let him because it was easier than telling him the truth." Janelle slowly sat down. "So Malik was never the father?" "No." "And you knew the fake result was a lie?" Keisha nodded. Malik's voice came out low. "Then who is his father?" Keisha looked toward the window. For the first time, she did not run from the question. She reached into the lining of her bag and pulled out a small folded hospital paper. Her hands trembled as she opened it. "The envelope they stole was not the only proof," she whispered. "I kept one thing hidden." Janelle stood again. "Keisha." Keisha swallowed hard and pointed to the name written on the old paper. "The family name is Vale." The room went cold, and before anyone could say another word, the front doorbell rang. The doorbell rang again. Nobody moved. Keisha's hand stayed frozen on the old hospital paper. Janelle stood beside her, staring at the name written across the document. Vale. One name, one family, one secret that had been hiding in plain sight. Malik looked toward the front door. His jaw tightened. "Are you expecting somebody?" he asked. Janelle shook her head slowly. The bell rang a third time. Tasha came from the hallway, keeping Isaiah safely behind her. "I'll stay with him." Malik nodded once, then walked to the door with Janelle beside him. When he opened it, Bryson Vale stood on the porch. He wore a dark jacket, his face calm, his eyes full of false concern. "Janelle," he said, "I came as soon as I heard about the result." Janelle did not answer. Bryson looked past her, and saw Keisha standing in the living room. For the first time since he returned to their lives, his calm face cracked, only for a second. But Malik saw it. Janelle saw it too. Bryson quickly covered it with a soft sigh. "I know this must be difficult. I only came to make sure you were okay." Janelle stepped aside. "Come in." Bryson hesitated. That hesitation said more than his concern. Inside the living room, Keisha held the hospital paper against her chest, like she was holding the last piece of her courage. Reginald and Denise arrived minutes later after Janelle called them. Denise came in ready to speak, but one look at Janelle's face silenced her. Reginald looked around the room. "What happened?" Janelle handed him the fake DNA paper first. "Someone sent this before the clinic released the real result." Reginald frowned. "Fake?" "Yes." Then Janelle handed him the old hospital paper. Reginald read it. His eyes stopped on the name. He looked up slowly. "Vale?" Bryson gave a small laugh. "This is ridiculous." Keisha's voice trembled, but she did not look away this time. "Tell them the truth." Bryson's face hardened. "I don't know what she's talking about." "You knew me," Keisha said. "You knew Isaiah existed." Denise's hand went to her mouth. Bryson turned to Janelle. "You can't seriously believe this woman. She already lied about Malik. Now she's dragging my family name into this because she wants money." Keisha flinched, but Malik stepped forward. "Careful," Malik said quietly. Bryson smiled at him. "Or what? You will fix me like one of your broken cars?" Malik did not answer. He did not need to. Janelle's voice cut through the room. "The clinic confirmed the official result. Malik is not Isaiah's father." Bryson's smile faded. "And Keisha had more than that," Janelle continued. "Old messages, the hospital paper, the envelope you tried to make disappear." Bryson's eyes shifted. That small movement exposed him. Reginald noticed. "Bryson," Reginald said, his voice low, "did you know about that child?" Bryson said nothing. Keisha finally opened the hidden paper fully and placed it on the table. Then she pulled out her phone and played an old saved voice note. A younger Bryson's voice filled the room. "You will not ruin my future with this. Forget my name." The silence after the recording was heavier than shouting. Janelle stared at Bryson like she was seeing every old wound again, but deeper this time. "You cheated on me years ago," she whispered, "and while you were pretending to love me, you abandoned a woman carrying your child." Bryson's face twisted. "You don't understand what pressure I was under." Keisha shook her head. Pressure did not raise him. Fear did. From the hallway, Isaiah peeked out. Tasha gently held his shoulder, keeping him back. Malik saw him and walked over slowly. He crouched in front of him. "Isaiah," he said gently, "none of this is your fault. Adults made mistakes. You did not." Isaiah looked at him with quiet eyes. "Are you still my friend?" Malik's face softened. "Always." Across the room, Reginald lowered himself into a chair. Shame covered his face. "I almost did it again," he said. "I almost judged an innocent man because the story looked ugly." Denise's eyes filled with tears. She turned to Malik and Janelle. "I was wrong," she said. "I looked at your past and called it danger instead of seeing your character." Malik accepted her words with a small nod, but he did not pretend they had not hurt. Bryson left that house exposed, his good name cracked by the truth he had spent years hiding. Keisha no longer had to run. With Janelle's help, she found safety and began rebuilding her life with Isaiah, not as charity, as a second chance. And Malik and Janelle did not heal in one day. Trust needed time. Wounds needed honesty. But they chose each other again, not blindly, not perfectly, but truthfully. Months later, the Grayson land opened as a community center for struggling women, children, and forgotten people. Malik stood at the entrance with Janelle's hand in his. Once, the world ignored him. Now his kindness had become a shelter for others, and Belridge City finally learned that a good heart may be misunderstood for a season, but truth will always find its way out of silence. This is the end of the story. Malik Grayson's journey teaches us that a person's past should never be used as a weapon against them. He was once ignored on the street, judged by his clothes, and treated like he had no value. But even when life gave him pain, he still chose kindness, and that same kindness became the truth that saved him in the end. Janelle also learned that love is not only about standing beside someone when everything looks beautiful. True love is tested when confusion, shame, and doubt enter the room. She almost lost Malik because of fear, but when the truth came out, she chose honesty over pride. Keisha's story reminds us that some people carry silent battles we know nothing about. Isaiah was never the problem. He was an innocent child caught in the mistakes of adults, and Malik proved that being a father figure is not only about blood, but about compassion, protection, and kindness. Bryson's downfall shows that lies may hide for years, but they cannot hide forever. Truth may be delayed, but it will always find its way out. As the creator, I believe this story is about forgiveness, patience, and the power of a good heart. Poverty does not make a person worthless, and wealth does not make a person honorable. Character is what truly defines a human being. Thank you for watching this story to the end. Tell me your favorite character, what you loved, and the lesson you learned. Goodbye, and see you in another powerful story.